China, once a beacon of meteoric progress, now drowns in a torrent of crises that threaten to topple its carefully crafted facade. Devastating floods in Hunan, collapsing bridges in Guizhou and Beijing, and an economy crumbling from Shanghai's glittering towers to forgotten rural hamlets reveal a nation in peril. Where Typhoon Yagi's wrath in September 2024 exposed Tofu-Dreg buildings in Hainan, today's deluges and infrastructure failures lay bare a deeper decay. Dams teetering on collapse, roads disintegrating, and a people betrayed by the Chinese Communist Party's CCP hollow promises. From submerged villages to shattered livelihoods, this special report unveils the staggering human toll, suppressed truths, and systemic rot driving China to the brink. Join us as we expose the dark secrets the CCP desperately seeks to hide. Hunan's deluge and collapsing bridges. A nation submerged in chaos. In the summer of 2025, Hunan reels from its worst flood since 1998, surpassing even the devastation of Typhoon Yagi, which claimed over 100 lives in Hainan last year. Relentless rains have shattered records, turning towns into inland oceans. At the Sanjushang station on the Lishui River, feeding Dongting Lake, water levels hit 262 meters, 2.38 meters, above the danger threshold with a flow of 7,300 cubic meters per second. Neighborhoods vanished under the onslaught, homes submerged to their rooftops. Over 310 reservoirs in Xiaili, Chengde, and Yuanling teeter at capacity, while dams like Xiandan, Dongmen, and Sanjiang unleash torrents to save themselves, drowning downstream villages. On June 24, 2025, Rengjiang County in Guizhou faced a once-in-50-years flood, with the Pinyang, Zhou, and Dulyu rivers surging at 5,100 cubic meters per second, pushing water levels nearly 2 meters high. The iconic supervillage stadium became a vast lake, shopping malls were inundated, and vehicles swept away. Rangjiang feels like the end of the world, a resident posted on X. The flood took everything: cars, homes, hope. Rescue boats became the only lifeline as residents climbed to higher floors, cut off by power outages and communication failures. The same day, disaster struck Guizhou's Shuqian Autonomous County. The Hui Bridge on the Xiamen-Chengdu Expressway, linking Guangxi and Guizhou, partially collapsed amid heavy rains, sending vehicles plunging into the raging river below. Videos captured a red truck dangling on the broken edge, its driver trapped in a life-or-death struggle. "You're so lucky! That was too dangerous!" onlookers shouted as debris swirled in the humid air. The Shuqian Traffic Police reported the collapse at 7:40 a.m., triggered by rainfall and landslide risks. Miraculously, no casualties were recorded, but 3 vehicles were lost, and rescue efforts were hampered by lost signals. "We have no internet, no phones," an official from the Chong Emergency Management Bureau admitted. "We're shouting into the void." Just months earlier, on April 23, 2025, Beijing's Chaobai River Bridge collapsed, its central section giving way with thick smoke, shaking public faith in China's infrastructure. These disasters, echoing Yagi's exposure of shoddy construction, reveal a nation buckling under nature's wrath and human failure. The human toll, lives and dreams washed away. The human cost is heart-wrenching. In Hunan's Sili County, where the Lishui meets its Laosan tributary, villages are stranded without power, water, or roads. A villager's video on X captured the terror. "The water hasn't stopped for 2 days. We're on the 4th floor, but it's still rising. No one's coming to save us." In Ximen County, Ms. Chen, a fruit vendor, stood amid her ruined stall. The flood took 800,000 yuan in inventory, all borrowed. "I'm left with nothing but debt." Nearby, Fruit World supermarket lost 1.5 million yuan in goods and equipment. "We fought the water, but it was merciless," the owner wept. The CCP promised progress, but this is despair. In Shangde's Hukou town, the Li Shu's embankment teeters, with floodwaters engulfing homes. "We rallied 400 people to save the riverbank, but it failed," a resident lamented. "Our village is sludge and sorrow." In Yuanling, a temporary Shangnan River bridge collapsed, its debris battering downstream communities. A grieving mother in Ximen shared, "My daughter was swept away trying to reach safety. We've searched for days, but she's gone." The CCP says they're helping, but where are they? In Ranjiang, residents waded through submerged streets, their belongings lost. Ms. Lee, a shopkeeper, cried, "The flood took my store, my life's work. The CCP's aid is a lie, just photo ops while we drown." In Shuchen, the Hui Bridge collapse left survivors shaken. Mr. Zong, a truck driver, narrowly escaped. "I saw the road disappear beneath me. The CCP builds bridges to impress, not to last." These stories, echoing the viral image of a Hainan girl on a shattered balcony during Typhoon Yagi, paint a portrait of a people abandoned by a callous regime. A perfect storm. Human failures amplify disaster. Nature's fury is undeniable, but human negligence, rooted in CCP mismanagement, has turned crises into catastrophes. Hunan's reservoirs, built in the 1950s and 1970s by untrained farmers, are bean curd projects. Crumbling under pressure, Dr. Chen Hao, an environmental scientist, warned. Over 3,500 reservoirs in Hunan are ticking time bombs. They're no match for these deluges. Dams release water without warning to save themselves, drowning villages below. They open the dams at night, no notice. A Chengda resident posted on X, "By morning our homes were gone." The Hui Bridge and Chaobai River Bridge collapses expose the Tofu-Dreg phenomenon, shoddy construction born of corruption and cost-cutting. A newly built bridge collapsed. A Mashuchen netizen raged. Another Tofu-Dreg project, courtesy of the CCP. Beijing's Rainbow Bridge, an iconic structure, fell amid smoke, symbolizing systemic failure. Corruption permeates the system. Officials like Liu, Harbin's deputy power director, awarded a 3.2 billion yuan project to a relative's firm, while former railway minister Liu Tanan pocketed 2 billion yuan in kickbacks. Contractors use substandard materials, and oversight is a farce, with inspectors bribed by developers. Shenzhen's Seg Plaza, built at a breakneck pace of one floor every 2.7 days, epitomizes this rush, leaving hidden flaws that collapse under stress. Environmental neglect compounds the crisis. Decades of deforestation and land reclamation, driven by CCP policies, have stripped Hunan and Guizhou of natural defenses. "The land can't hold the water anymore," a Rangjiang farmer lamented. "The CCP's greed destroyed our protection." These failures, exposed by Yagi's devastation of Hainan's high-rises, reveal a regime prioritizing image over safety. Economic collapse. Floods and failures deepen despair. The floods and collapses are a devastating blow to an economy already on its knees. Shanghai's population has crashed from 30 million to 25 million, with 380,000 fleeing in a single month, leaving malls empty and streets ghostly. Mr. Zhao, a Shanghai blogger, vented, "Qibao's alleys are dead, cafes sit vacant. The CCP sold us prosperity, but their corruption has turned our city into a graveyard." His posts, like many, are censored, as the CCP hides the truth about job losses. In Hunan, businesses face extinction. Ms. Li in Ximen lost 600,000 yuan in inventory. The flood took everything. The CCP's relief is a cruel joke, photo ops while we drown in debt. Zhejiang's Huzhou garment industry is in tatters, with 80–90% of shops shuttered. Mr. Chen and Shizhou vendor raged, "No customers come, it's worse than the pandemic." The CCP favors the rich while we beg for scraps. Unemployment has surged, pushing workers into cutthroat gig jobs. Ms. Zhang, a 24-year-old Shenzhen graduate, lamented, "My degree is useless. I'm 200,000 yuan in debt, can't afford rent, and the CCP silences us. They've stolen our future." Guizhou's floods have crippled Rangjiang's economy, once buoyed by the supervillage stadium. Damages exceed 2 billion yuan, with families facing decades of recovery. The Hui Bridge collapse disrupted trade routes, costing millions more. These losses echo Yagi's impact. where Hainan's 200 million yuan relief fund was mocked as tossing coins to beggars while the CCP sent billions abroad. The economic fallout is a death knell for a nation already grappling with factory closures and a tech supply chain exodus. Social discontent, a nation's trust shattered. Public fury against the CCP is boiling over. Hunan's collapsing reservoirs and Guizhou's failed bridges, scorned as Tofu-Dreg projects, symbolize systemic betrayal. The CCP builds to impress, not to last, a Rangjiang netizen posted. They pose for aid photos, then abandon us to drown. Charity drives face scorn with donations of 0.01 yuan and comments like, "Why fund their corruption?" In Beijing, the Chaobai Bridge collapse sparked outrage. An iconic bridge falls and the CCP blames nature, a netizen fumed. This is their failure. The urban-rural divide deepens the unrest. In Yuanling, elderly residents over 60 sell vegetables to survive with no welfare. Muziang, a 62-year-old farmer, shared, "The CCP builds skyscrapers in Beijing but leaves us with nothing. They expect us to die working." Her words echo the outrage post-Yagi, where netizens decried the CCP's paltry aid. In Shanghai, a netizen raged, "They call this a global metropolis, but our streets are empty. The CCP's lies have driven us out." The growing distrust reflects a society fraying, its faith in the regime eroded by broken promises and censored truths. Veiled truths. The CCP's desperate cover-ups. Behind the CCP's polished narratives lies a stark reality. China is unraveling. Official reports downplay flood deaths and infrastructure failures, but locals insist the toll is far higher. They say no one died in the bridge collapse, but we saw bodies in the river. A Shuchen resident whispered on X, her post swiftly deleted. In Hunan, a Changde farmer declared, "They hide the dead and silence our grief to save face." Censorship is relentless. Posts about floods, collapses, or job losses vanish from WeChat and Douyin. Muzgao, a Hefei resident, fumed, "I posted about my factory closing and it was gone in minutes." The CCP fears our voices more than the disaster. The CCP's history of concealing crises, evident in Yagi's underreported toll and Hunan's floods, fuels suspicion. Relief efforts are performative, with funds siphoned by corrupt officials. "They stage photo ops while we rebuild alone," a Rangjiang shopkeeper raged. Heart-wrenching stories, a girl selling goods with an orange on her head to buy medicine, a father mourning his son lost to floods, symbolize a nation's despair under a callous regime. "We trusted the CCP to protect us," a Yuanling villager said. "Now we're forsaken. If Three Gorges fails, will they admit their betrayal?" A nation on the precipice. China in 2025 is a bleak tableau of converging crises. Floods, collapsing bridges, and economic ruin. Hunan's deluge and Guizhou's infrastructure failures following Typhoon Yagi's devastation expose the CCP's systemic rot. The Three Gorges Dam, once a symbol of triumph, threatens millions downstream. Cities like Shanghai see mass exodus, while rural communities drown in poverty and neglect. This is a clarion call for a nation on the brink. Will the CCP face these mounting failures, or cling to lies and censorship? From farmers toiling in fields to jobless graduates, the Chinese people demand answers. Share your views, demand transparency, and amplify the silenced voices. Subscribe and enable notifications for our next reports. Thank you for witnessing China's unraveling with us.